It's Vegan Freak Radio number 90 for the 13th of May, 2008.
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority, here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
Hey everybody, how are you? This is Bob.
And Jenna.
And I was just sitting here trying to hold back a sneeze.
You okay?
Yeah.
I was wondering, you were like looking down at the keyboard with a funny look on your face.
I was trying not to sneeze. And I was trying to sneeze because our equipment is dusty.
It really is.
Have we squandered the goodwill of our audience yet? I hope not. But anyway, we're back. This is show 90. Sorry for the long delay in there. I know people get annoyed when we apologize, but I feel bad about not having had a show out. It's just that we've been through some really intensely difficult personal stuff in the last, who the hell knows how long. And it's just...
really the last 6 months.
Really?
Yeah.
And we're breaking through the other side of it now.
Yes.
So we appreciate your understanding. That's all I want to really say about it.
Okay.
Subscribers know a little more, but...
yeah, but we really do need to apologize for, because this is like the longest time I think we've gone without doing a show. So
I don't think so, but it's
no?
close.
Close.
So anyway, yeah, we decided today that now that summer is upon us and neither of us have regular work duties, at working because it's summer vacation now, that we're going to just try to do a show every Tuesday. So it's a long show, great. It's a short show, great. Just Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Crank out the shows. Also, speaking of subscribers, stay tuned. We're going to do an extended show for you today at the end of the show. So after the show, you're going to get a little extra show as a subscriber. The rest of you who didn't subscribe, you just get a regular show. All right, let's get talking here about the show.
All right.
Rather than about me getting sneezy. I should have dusted everything before we started doing this.
It is really, keyboard is really
Look at
bad.
that. Isn't that great? Yeah. Okay, so
anyway. Well, how about we start off with saying that we did say at the very top, it is show number 90, which means show number 100 is coming up soon, in 10 weeks.
Yeah, assuming that we can keep to our weekly schedule, and barring illness or travel, we should be able to do that.
I think so.
Summers we usually do crank out a lot of shows. So I'm wondering, we're both wondering, what should we do for show 100?
We want to make it special.
We'd like to do something cool. I was thinking maybe we could try to get old guests back on that we enjoyed.
I think so. That would be a great idea.
Yeah.
So which guest did you enjoy the most? Tell us. Yeah. What do you want to hear? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either.
Maybe we can get together. We can put together a special line for people to call and wish us happy 100 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be fun too. Maybe we could give, we could try to have a whole bunch of 10-second voicemails or something and put them all together into a big audio collage or some shit. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
I'm just kind of talking off the top of my head here. So that would be kind of fun. There are all different things we could do, but if you have ideas, let us know.
Yes.
You know how to let us know. I hope you know how to let us know. So anyway. Well, today we're going to talk about a couple different things. Some of these things are a little old at this point, and some of them aren't, but there are a whole bunch of different things that kind of tie together in interesting ways. So we want to talk about, I'm sure some of you out there have heard about PETA putting $1 million reward on vat-grown meat, which people have requested we talk about, and I have a lot to say about that. We want to talk about some free-range stuff, and we also want to talk about some of the difficulties that vivisectors face in killing the animals they work with. Yeah. So where do you want to start?
Vat-grown meat.
All right. Do you want to read?
Sure, I'll read this.
There you go.
This actually comes from an editorial from the New York Times, which the editorial itself is quite interesting as well.
It is, which we'll talk about.
But it also then brings up the issue that we wanted to talk about, and that's PETA and their offer. And this comes from April 23rd, 2008, so that's a little old, but not too bad. Okay, it is entitled $1 Million Meat. People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals is offering $1 million prize for the first person to come up with a method to produce commercially viable quantities of in vitro meat at the competitive prices by 2012. In vitro and test tube grown are not ideas one usually associates with meat. The meat substitute niche is currently occupied largely by soy in all its miraculous, if slightly disappointing, forms. Anyway, the announcement has apparently caused strife in PETA's offices, where workers are debating whether they might ever eat animal tissue that has never been part of an autonomous animal.
Not vegan.
Nope. They'll have some time to decide. So far, only a small amount of meat tissue has been grown in petri dishes, and it remains to be seen whether consumers will ever like the idea. You know, it just sounds so appetizing. Petri dish meat.
Petri dish meat.
We are disgusted by the conventional meat industry in this country, which raises animals, especially chickens and pigs, in inhumane confinement systems that cause significant environmental damage. There is every reason to change the way meat is produced, to make it more ethical, more humane. But the result of the technology that PETA hopes to reward could be the end of domesticated farm animals. This has often seemed as if it were the logical conclusion of some radical animal rights activists.
Uh-oh.
What are you doing?
I'm removing this keyboard. It's making me feel like I'm going to sneeze.
You're distracting. All right.
You'll live. What would a show be without a fight between Bob and Jenna?
and the PC noise.
Oh, and the dumb PC noise. I fucking hate this thing. Anyway, go ahead.
Where the was I?
I'm sorry.
I think I was talking about radical animal rights activists.
Like us.
Like us. Better for animals not to exist at all if there is a chance that they would suffer. Well, okay. Anyway, we'll go back to that in a minute.
Yes, we will.
We prefer a more measured approach. Of course you do. Ensure the least possible cruelty to animals by all means and raise them in ways that are both ethical and environmentally sound. But also treasure the cultural and historical bond between humans and domesticated animals. Historically speaking, they exist only because of the uses we have found for them, and preserving their existence means, in most cases, preserving the uses we have made for them. It will be a barren world if the herds and flocks disappear in favor of meat grown in a laboratory tank.
Wow, I have so much to say about this.
Go for it.
Number one, I have one thing to say.
Eat me.
And I mean it. I actually literally mean...
Eat me.
I mean eat me because I am serious. I would happily donate a sample of my tissue, even if it involved a lot of pain and a permanent scar. I would happily donate some of my tissue and have my own human meat grown in vitro for everybody out there to eat. Because... doesn't that sound disgusting?
It does.
It does. But this is what we're going to do with cows and pigs? And why is that okay? Like, why not eat my meat?
Eat me.
Why not eat me?
Well, according to the New York Times, it's because they only exist because they're for us.
Okay, look. Let's think of it like this. This comes up in the classes I teach a lot. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, that we could breed very... I don't know, severely mentally disabled children, right? That are useful for, I don't know, we could harvest their organs. You know, we could use their people need organs, right? So we breed a very fast growing, severely mentally disabled child, and
wasn't this like a movie? Wasn't there a movie like this? They breed these twin people, like the clones, to use for organs for sick people.
Okay, so
yeah.
but I'm saying that we need to create a completely separate race of people that, you know, maybe they're severely mentally retarded or whatever. You know, and all they exist for is for our ends. That's all they exist for. Could you really logically make the argument that it's okay to have that their life is somehow better living that life where they're used completely as an instrument for the will of another than not existing at all?
No.
I can't make that argument.
No.
I think that's very odd.
It is completely odd.
So what they're saying, though, is that it's better to have cows and chickens that are slaughtered, as long as they live well, as long as they live really well.
Happy meat.
It's okay to have them. Because as long as they exist, it's better than not existing?
Right. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, anyway.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't to me
especially because,
either.
Their historical, view is a little bit twisted. There were cows and chickens before humans domesticated them.
Absolutely.
They took wild animals and made them domesticated, and in doing so, changing their genetics.
Right.
And so, yes, the breeds and everything that we have today are a complete result of human activity. But
they exist completely
But they existed before. In fact, the ones that used to exist don't.
Yeah, but the argument that they're making is that it's better that these animals exist as our tool. As things that we use and consume than not exist at all. And I don't agree with that.
I don't either. Why should they exist as tools for us?
Right.
That does not make any sense whatsoever.
But we're radical animal rights activists, aren't we?
We are.
But okay, so there are a couple of things here. The idea that vat-grown meat is somehow acceptable. I think. Let me be clear. I think vat-grown meat, if it were to come about, I think it would be fine, right? I mean, it'd be better than the meat that's harvested by killing animals.
Mm-hmm, sure.
But I think promoting vat-grown meat kind of avoids the problem in a lot of ways.
Completely.
I mean, the issue is the exploitation of animals, right? So PETA is promoting this vat-grown meat, which could lead to, to a decline in the exploitation of animals, which I understand. But why not educate people about the animals that are being exploited now, today, right now, at this moment? I mean, I think all of this, and everybody gets so excited about this vat-grown meat bullshit. I think this is fucking ridiculous. I don't get excited about this. I think this is nuts. Because why?
Because it misses the whole point. It's that
I'm flipping out.
And we're going to show this in just about everything that we read today,
yeah.
and we usually show on every show, is that people can't imagine a world where you don't eat meat. They can't. That doesn't even enter into the equation.
Yeah, I know.
And that just is so unfathomable. It's only for us weirdo, radical people.
Right.
And it's like not even an option on the table. And that's because groups like PETA don't put it as an option on the table.
I think we need to be promoting veganism. We don't need to... listen, I don't have any problem with the vat-grown meat. If it were to become widely available, I think that would be great. Because it would mean a significant reduction in the suffering that animals experience. But I think it avoids the whole issue. And the whole issue is the issue of speciesism. Exactly. So I think that's one big problem there. I think another issue is that, as vegans, is this the kind of shit we want to be promoting? I don't know. I think we should be I really think we should be out promoting veganism, talking about animal exploitation now, today, the way it really exists, and all of that. Also, I remember a long time ago, I went on Eric Marcus's show with a comment when this vat-grown meat first started to come around. This is like 3 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
And yeah, it has. This is like a perpetual issue. And the amount of wood that vegans get for this just blows my mind. I don't understand why we're so happy about this. I don't think that it's anywhere near. It is nowhere near. We're talking about a decade or more away from this. So everybody gets all excited and happy about this, but I don't think there's really much. Yeah,
why are vegans so happy and excited to go eat meat?
That's it. I don't understand. So Eric Marcus on his show a long time ago said, what would you call somebody who was a vegan for ethical reasons but who ate this? Or, would vegans eat this? And my response is no.
No.
Vegans should not eat this shit.
It still comes from an animal.
It's still an animal product.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a purity issue at all. But I think it's an issue of... I think there is an issue here of like, okay, you're using an animal.
It's still speciesist.
I think so, yeah. And if you wouldn't have a problem with this, why not eat me?
Exactly.
Like, why not vat grow some of me
Humans,
and eat me?
Yeah.
Yeah, eat some of me.
Right, or eat the mentally disabled children that you were talking about earlier, the ones that we grow for our own purposes.
Oh, shit. Yeah, so when we're done harvesting the organs, we can just cut them up and eat them? I don't know.
It's okay if they're free range.
This is a very weird show so far. If this is your first time listening, we're not usually this weird, are we?
No, I hope not. Well, probably.
I don't know. I was sorry I was distracted. I was trying to hold back another sneeze. I really should have dusted. I'm allergic to... Has it been that long? Anyway, so I guess I want to be clear so that I don't get bombarded with email. I think if vat-grown meat were to become a reality, it would be fine. I think it'd be fine. But what I also think it would do is probably lead to, I don't know, more kind of refined forms of exploitation, where you would have kind of the wealthy consuming kind of quote unquote real animals and the poor eating the vat meat and things like that. But I think we shouldn't be pursuing vat meat. We shouldn't be promoting this shit when we could actually be out there educating people about veganism and talking about the real problem of animal exploitation. To me, this is really a side issue in a lot of ways. And here we are talking about it, but to me, it's a side issue in a lot of ways. And I think we're talking about it because a lot of you have asked us to talk about it because I think a lot of people give this way more importance than I think it deserves. I just don't think it's that important.
No, and who's to say that if they do come out with it, people are actually going to eat it?
This is pretty disgusting.
It is. I mean, I don't know. I just whatever. I mean, people are turned off by things like that.
Yeah, they are.
So,
but I want to be clear so that we don't get all the you said I wasn't good for animals emails. I do think this would be good in general. I just don't think it's like. I just think we should be doing something else. So anyway, enough of that crap. Where are we going next? This one. Okay, so this one I found on the forums. I forget who posted it, but anyway, if it's you, thank you. I found this one on the forums, and this is from the Sunday Herald from a couple weeks ago, and it says Fury at 250,000 hen farms free range claim. And the article says plans to put more than 250,000 hens in 11 huge sheds and sell their eggs as quote unquote free range have been derided as a mockery by animal welfare campaigners. Glenrath Farms, an award-winning Scottish business which supplies eggs to Tesco and Asda, has run into a storm of protest over its scheme to create one of the world's largest free-range egg farms in the Borders. And it says, it goes on to talk about the sheds themselves. It'll be a 160-meter-long shed for 25,000 hens, and they want to put 10 more like that nearby. And what it says is that basically, in order to be free-range, the birds must have access to the open via quote-unquote pop holes, providing at least 2 meters of opening for every 1,000 hens. 2 meters for 1,000 hens. Now, for our metric challenged friends in the United States, 2 meters is about 6 point something feet. Mm-hmm. What is it? It's like 3 point.
Yeah, just a touch over 3.
Yeah.
For a meter, so.
So there you go. A little more than 6 feet, right? Per 1,000 hens. Outdoors, every hen should have access to 4 square meters of ground. So there you go. They can get out, but we're talking about a 2 meter opening for 1,000 hens. Now, Animal Concern says that these are really pseudo free range, and oh motherfucker, you fuck. Anyway, would it be a show without me cursing at Windows? No. I know. Okay, before we get you should get a Mac or Linux. No shit. No shit.
You have several of them sitting behind you.
We record the show on a Mac. And our file server in the house is Linux. But a piece of software which we need to produce the show only runs on Windows. Only. So that's why you hear all the Windows effects. I do not go down on Bill Gates. I'm not a Windows fan. I'm sorry. I don't like XP. I don't like Vista. I hate Windows. In general, I hate it. Anyway. What we're looking at here really is essentially a setup which is called free range, but in which, you have 1,000 hens that are trying to get through a 6 foot long space. And that's all they can kind of get out through. And this farm is one of Scotland's largest agricultural employers. And it was declared UK Farm Business of the Year in 2004. And it was a winner in the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. So basically, what they're trying to do is to kind of move in the direction of free range because it sounds really good. But when you look at it, really, is free range that great? When you're talking about 25,000 hens, right? That's a lot.
Packed into the shed. Only a few of them can get out at a time.
That's one shed, okay?
And when they're out, they're not really have that much more room.
Exactly. They don't get that much more room at all. So you're talking about one shed with 25,000 hens. They want to build 10 more the exact same way. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about hundreds of thousands of hens laying eggs all together in this place that, sure, they're not in cages. Is that better? Mildly. Right. Is kind slavery still slavery? Yes.
Yes.
And I don't really see this as any great leap forward. I don't see 1,000 flowers blossoming. I'm sorry.
Nope.
With apologies to Mel. So I find, and again, this is where the whole movement I think is focused. If there's something that we're promoting free range eggs, we're promoting back-row meat, and we're not talking about veganism.
Nope. Exactly. Because we're just too radical.
But this is one of the things that always annoys me, too, is that I got an argument the other day with this guy on IRC. What a shocker. Actually, I came at the tail end of it. Other people were kind of abusing him. Lely and Chris Dove were kind of taking him to the mat a little bit. And I don't want to mischaracterize the guy's argument, but kind of what he was saying is that he basically, when people ask him what he eats, he says he eats a whole foods, plant-based diet. Mm-hmm. But he's a vegan for ethical reasons. But he feels like that turns people off to say vegan. Mm-hmm. And the argument that we were having with him, and I don't want to mischaracterize what people were saying, but the way I saw it was, we were giving him a little bit of trouble because we were saying, look, if you just say that you're a vegan because, essentially you played out as health reasons, you're missing the whole point of veganism, which is an ethical orientation.
Exactly. And a protest against, the whole system as it is.
That's right.
And like we always say on the show, veganism is what we make it. We don't want to make other people define it for us. So if everybody thinks that we're radical weirdos, we need to show them that, okay, our ideas might seem kind of strange to you,
right,
but this is what I'm about.
Absolutely.
Show them.
And I think that I really do believe that is possible to teach people and to have people understand if you approach it right. In my animal rights class I taught this semester, at the end of the semester, I asked students, I said, look, you're not going to get graded any differently. You know, how many of you are really seriously contemplating veganism? You know by now, I told them, you know by now, I'm not like the type to really force it on you or whatever, because I'm not. I don't think that's useful. So I think they trust me, and I let them grade themselves. So I had no real, I let them kind of determine their own grade at the end of the course. And anyway, something like, I think almost all of the students in the class, except for one or two, said they were contemplating veganism.
Wow.
And a couple of them had gone vegan. And I don't think they were just bullshitting me. I really think that it was honest. After having heard them all semester, heard them talk about these things, watched them kind of move from a place where they were initially extremely skeptical to a place where they really understood it, and having used abolitionist arguments throughout the entire semester, abolitionist readings, I saw it as possible to get students to really think about this, to get people to really think about it thoughtfully. I think it's possible.
It is. And I think, honestly, that a lot of people have no clue. Like, they have these ideas in their mind about why people go vegan, but they really don't understand it until you start really explaining it to them. And it can be a very slow process.
I think it takes time with people.
It does.
And I actually think that with a lot of people, it's an evolving discussion.
Of course. Because you start the wheels turning. That's
Sure.
what you got to do. You just got to start the spark.
And someone said, I remember on our forum, someone asked, what do you do with people who just are extremely dismissive of the argument? Someone who, maybe you've talked to them a couple times about it, but they're just like, oh, whatever, and they don't even want to hear you. And I say, you move on. There's some people that you will never get through to. The way I look at it is, it's triage, right? I mean, if there's someone that's interested in talking to you about it, talk to them about it. If someone is absolutely uninterested, you're wasting your breath, and you're just wasting your time. So people like that can come around, but I think it's generally pretty rare. What I think, though, the point I'm trying to get at is that telling someone you're a vegan is could be the beginning of a discussion.
Exactly.
It's the beginning of them thinking about it. And I've seen this happen with my coworkers. I've seen it happen with my students. I've seen it happen with friends. And people go vegan.
Or at least they'll start asking questions.
Yeah. Some people do.
Yeah.
And I know it's true because I went vegan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I went vegan, I don't think of myself as any kind of special, especially aware or especially, bright or anything like that. I went vegan, right? I went vegan because I began to think about these things. So what I'm getting at is that I think what we need to do is to think really critically about that, first and foremost. Not promoting vac-grown meat, not promoting battery cage-free eggs, none of that shit. Start talking about veganism.
And just showing that you can live healthily and happily as a vegan.
You absolutely can. If you don't eat junk food for a living. Yeah. So it's just a common critique I have of the movement. I mean, I always just wonder.
How can you talk if you haven't got a brain?
I don't know. But some people without brains do an awful lot of talking.
Or maybe that's me. I have no brain and I'm doing an awful lot of talking. So, anyway.
Cool. Well, there actually is a group out there that does talk about the same kind of things, and that's the Peaceful Prairie Sanctuary. And they have an incredible blog at their website. You okay there, Dust Boy?
I've got a little bit of lung earth balance going on. I really badly want to hawk a lung,
Great. You're disgusting. You're really gross.
Watching too much Kenny and Spenny.
Anyway, Peaceful Prairie. peacefulprairie.blogspot.com if you want to check out their blog. And they have, on Friday, May 2nd, they put on this entry called A Letter from a Vegan World. And
that was from Curmudgeon on the forums, I saw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's excellent because they have the same kinds of critiques that we do of the movement and of people doing things other than promoting veganism.
Right.
So we definitely want you to check this out. It's too long to read the entire thing.
We will post
right now
in show notes.
But we wanted to at least sort of give you a sense of what it says. And it says, Dear friends and fellow activists, at a time when most animal rights organizations are actively promoting, advocating, and rewarding humane animal products and farming methods, I'm writing to you on behalf of 3 of the recipients of that mercy. To the industry, they are known as Production Units Number 6, Number 35, and Number 67,595. To the quote-unquote compassionate consumer, they are known as feel-good labels, quote-unquote organic dairy, rose veal, free-range eggs. To welfare advocates, they are known as quote-unquote humane alternatives. To each other, they are known as mother, son, sister, friend.
Nice.
To themselves, they are simply what you and I are to ourselves, a self-aware, self-contained world of subjective experiences, feelings, fears, memories. Someone with the absolute certainty that his or her life is worth living. And it's
Powerful.
excellent. It's extremely powerful. And then they go animal by animal. They go, number 6 is a first-time mother. She is frantic. Her baby is missing. And then they put a lovely picture of her and just talk about her experience on an organic dairy farm. And then they talk about her baby, 2 days old. Mm-hmm. And then a really cute picture of the quote-unquote veal, right? And then they go through the free-range eggs and the hen. And it's just excellent. And at the end, they just say, we can do better. You know,
we can
do better than this quote-unquote humane meat. Indeed, we have an obligation to do better. I invite you to see for yourselves how much can be accomplished when a small group of dedicated activists commit all of its time and resources to vegan education that is consistent with, not undermining of, our ultimate goal, animal liberation. And when the Go Vegan message is central to every single one of its communications, from online resources to printed literature to ads, demos, and billboards, to outreach events to the in-depth exploration of farmed animal personhood detailed in the individual portraits published on the Prairie blog. On a shoestring budget with an all-volunteer corps of vegan educators who are determined to tell the whole truth about meat, dairy, egg production, a small grassroots organization like Peaceful Prairie Sanctuary has built something that large, wealthy organizations have not only failed to bring forth, but have consistently undermined through years of anti-vegan advocacy. A vibrant vegan world growing in the middle of the non-vegan world, a place where the animal refugees are regarded and represented as the persons they rightly are, a place where the human residents advocate tirelessly for nothing less than total liberation, a free state in the heart of the human subjugated world, a place where the principles of abolition are applied in word, thought, and deed. A vegan enclave whose very presence has already changed the world's physical, political, psychological, and spiritual geography.
Oh, are we not done?
There's just one more sentence. I invite you to experience for yourselves. Join us in our struggle to expand its reach. Help us make it borderless.
I like that.
It's very powerful.
I think it is too. And I really think that, again, it's nice to see that from Peaceful Prairie. And, you know, look, they can always use money to do what they're doing. So if you ever want to give anybody money, give them money. Mm-hmm. They need it. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah. I mean, because they're doing a lot of good, not just in their sanctuary and in saving animals,
go ahead.
But in their education.
But here's the thing, right? PETA's going to give $1 million prize to some food scientist somewhere who's growing fucking vat-grown meat. Mm-hmm. Think about what Peaceful Prairie could do with $1 million. Mm-hmm. $1 million. Mm-hmm. Right? Think about what PETA, if they decide they were going to, if they were going to actually go into vegan education, really go into vegan education, first they could hire somebody to protect their farms, and then, because they just got hacked, although, you know, there but for the grace of God go I, right?
Right.
Anyway, they could they could do a lot with $1 million. Rather than these ridiculous little prizes.
Just think of how many people you can turn vegan if you had $1 million.
Dude.
Or how many animals you could put into a sanctuary.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know? So, what if Peaceful Prairie had $1 million? Imagine what they could do. I mean, imagine what they could do. Imagine what PETA could do if they actually devoted most of their efforts to getting people to go vegan, which they don't do.
No. And I like how they say, you know, it's not just not promoting vegan education, it's undermining vegan education, because someone who sees it's humane, so I don't have to worry about it. You know,
Happy meat.
This someone you could probably reach is not going vegan.
Yeah, I agree. And I see that happen quite often. And another thing that we sometimes receive as a critique on the show is that you're too radical. I think you're scaring people away. If we could just have if we could just meet halfway. If you wouldn't be so radical, you might not scare so many people away. Woo! You know what I think? Oh, shut up! That's what I think. Because no, we're not being too radical. I don't think there's anything radical about it at all. Well, there is something radical about it in the sense that radical means root, right? Mm-hmm. The root of the word radical back in Latin is about getting to the root of the issue. Mm-hmm. Veganism gets to the root of the problem. Mm-hmm. Ethical veganism does. And that's why earlier when I got into that argument with a guy what a surprise, argument with somebody on the internet. Shocker. Shocker, I know. Argue with people on the internet? Oh my God, does this ever happen?
No.
Anyway. That's the thing that annoyed me about what he was arguing. He was saying, I don't want to scare people away. I don't want them to be confused. And I'm saying, why is it so hard to say I'm a vegan? When they ask you why, you say for animal rights reasons. Get them thinking about it. Mm-hmm. You gain nothing when you say, oh, I'm a vegan for health reasons, or I'm not. You don't even say vegan. You say, I eat a whole foods plant-based diet. What the fuck does that do? It doesn't do anything if you care about animals. Mm-mm. It's about you.
It is. It is.
And so that's the thing about veganism, though. And look, I think the only veganism that there is ethical veganism. If you're not an ethical vegan, if you're a health food vegan, I don't think you're really a vegan.
Because there's nothing to stop you from using other animal products.
Well, and veganism itself, if you go back to the original definition of it, it is about ethics at the core.
Right.
It's not, it's about what you eat, but it's about the ethics of what you eat. It's not about purity. It's about the ethics of what you're consuming.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So, I don't know. I've been spending too much time around the dogs, apparently.
Apparently.
I'm
Luckily, they're really sleepy.
They are, indeed.
Assuming we don't get any UPS packages today.
We shouldn't. I haven't ordered anything in a long time.
I haven't either. I don't think we're expecting anything.
And the trash truck already came.
Yeah.
So we should be in good shape. So, I don't know. What was that? Oh, Molly's over there. I didn't even know he was over there.
He was in the bathroom, but he came in earlier.
Oh. You okay, Mole?
He's sleepy.
That's what the run will do.
Uh-huh.
We took a good long run before the show. So, I don't know. I think the common theme that comes through all of this stuff is that there are a lot of different ways to go about this, but I really do think that the centrality of the issue is one of vegan outreach and education. And I think that a lot of what we do on the show, a lot of what we do in our forums and everything else we try to do is just really about trying to get people to be proud of the fact that they're vegan and to really think critically about what that means. Mm-hmm. And to get people to go vegan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's why, Vegan Freak. We recognize that by taking this view, we are seen as freaks. But
sometimes.
Embrace it.
You have to embrace it.
Embrace it.
You have to embrace it, I think.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Perhaps we should have a little segue. Okay.
Very nice.
Thank you. It's a 50 segue. All right, moving away from animal welfarism and the deep and constant flaws in the animal rights movement, we got this email from someone named Rita Wing, and this article that she sent us is from The New Scientist. I thought this was a really interesting article, actually, in a lot of ways, because, well, I'll just read it to you. It's a strange article in a way, too. It's very odd. So, anyway, here's what the article says. Larry will always be in my heart. Hard to imagine anyone having anyone named Larry in their heart. Larry's just not. Oh, Larry. It's just not a romantic name, right? It's not about romantic love, though. I'm sorry. I make jokes, and this is quite serious. Larry will always be in my heart, says Sally Walshaw. I cried before and after the euthanasia session, but I didn't want to upset Larry by crying during the session itself. I spent a lot of time with him on his last day and gave him lots of treats. Then Larry received a sedative, and about 10 minutes later the euthanasia was administered. Larry was a 10-year-old rabbit and one of Walshaw's favorite charges in a lab at Michigan State University where she cared for animals. Larry had become uncontrollably wheezy from a cancer he had developed due to his old age following a research program, and it was up to Walshaw to end his suffering. Every day in research facilities around the world, specialist staff who care for animals are faced with the same task: to kill the animals they have looked after for months or years, sometimes with a lethal injection, sometimes by suffocating them with carbon dioxide, and sometimes by breaking their necks. What's coming to light for the first time is that euthanasia of their charges triggers feelings of guilt, remorse, and grief in many careers. But most suffer in silence because the subject is taboo and they feel they have no way to unburden themselves. Few receive any formal training on how to cope with their feelings or practical emotional support, whether from the institutions and scientists they work for or from colleagues and family members. To add to their distress, lab animal technicians are often portrayed by animal rights extremists as torturers and murderers. Well,
They just got done talking about killing animals.
I know. I know. What do we? What? What? Okay. The scale and unease emerged earlier this month in Avamore at the annual meeting of the UK Institute of Animal Technology, which represents 2,200 lab animal workers. Keith Davies, operational director of the animal facilities at Cardiff University, presented preliminary results of an investigation into the emotional demands of caring for and having to kill lab animals. Last year, Davies held 6 focus groups on the issue, attended by 31 individuals. What emerged was a picture of repressed but deeply felt emotions, empathy for animals, and frustration at not feeling able to show grief. They also felt dissatisfied at not being able to discuss openly the value of research or sharing credit for medical breakthroughs resulting from it. And so it goes on to talk about some of these things and how what they're trying, and places like Charles River Laboratories, right, which provides specially grown diseased, specially grown quote unquote models, animal models that will develop cancer or leukemia or whatever. Charles River says, we want our staff to care. So we need to provide a mechanism for them to cope with this openly. And what they go on to say is that, the key is to accept grief, not fight it. And basically you need to integrate grief into your life. And it goes on talking about how animal carers would also benefit from reflecting on the good that comes out of research. So what you have here is really the article goes on and talks about this, but it's an article that illustrates how the whole institution itself of animal exploitation recognizes this as a problem, right? It looks at human emotion as a problem and sees it potentially as something that could get in the way. And so they're developing mechanisms for coping with it, for dealing with this really fucked up issue. It's like, you're being a human being. You're evidencing the things that make you a regular human being and not a fucking sociopath. And we're going to try to mute that. Or not mute it, but we're going to try to make you feel better about it. That's messed up.
It is messed up, but it's a utilitarian argument there.
Well, absolutely,
exactly.
Right?
We're doing good with this, so it's okay. It's justifiable.
That's right. And, think about it. These people are evidencing human emotion, and in a way they're being told that what they're doing is good for the world, right? Oh, go ahead. Gas that chamber full of people. It's good for the homeland. I mean, this is exactly the kind of rationality that's going on here, and it really bothers me. So that bothers me. I think it's really telling, because it shows that. Well, I think it's telling in a way that says, look, these people understand their fellow creatures as beings that are sentient, that have a sense of the world, and yet they're clearly having difficulty killing them. They're clearly having difficulty doing the things to them that they're doing. At least some of them are. Don't get me wrong. Some of the vivisectors are total sociopaths. Who have learned to repress anything like human emotion or never had to begin with. But if you look at this, it's very clear that a lot of people are in a place where they're finding this extremely difficult to deal with. Now, the person who sent this to me, Rita, she also raised an interesting point, but she says she thought it was significant that no one seems to think counseling or family days necessary for slaughterhouse workers, presumably on the grounds that the working class is not sensitive enough to worry about these issues. I think that's a wonderful point, too.
It really is.
It's like this stuff is just as bad for slaughterhouse workers, or actually way worse. Way worse. If you read Gail Eisner's book, Slaughterhouse, right, and I quote some of this in my own book, the process of slaughter is really emotionally devastating for a significant number of people. And what they do, they repress it. Like they push it down, and then it bubbles out at their family and at violence in their communities. And this is the thing, it spills outside the boundaries of the slaughterhouse. It spills outside the boundaries of the lab. It's violence being done, and it's coming out in these ways that you wouldn't expect, but it's like repression. If you repress anything like that, it comes out in a way that you may not expect.
Exactly.
It's like if you're a homophobic pastor of a mega church in Colorado, and you really, 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 really enjoy butt sex and meth, but you don't want to tell anybody. Guess what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like fucking hell. Except that,
but it's so telling of our society is to take a problem and rather than actually deal with the root of it, which is what we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
You just, put a Band-Aid on it.
That's right.
And you try and deal with the symptoms.
But
it never works. I mean, it's the same thing that goes on and on and on with education, with healthcare, with everything in our society.
That's
I mean,
right.
we try and, You have heart problems? Oh, well, here's a pill. Don't get to actually what's causing your heart problems. We'll just get a pill to make the symptoms better.
But this is interesting.
It's the same thing that happens over and over and over again.
But in this case, right? Mm-hmm. I think that the people that are involved in lab animal. I mean, let's be realistic. It's a business.
Of course,
the people that do animal research, it's a business in academia. The people that are doing this are getting the grants to do this, and they know that the animal models are the way to get the grant money that they need. It's a business. It feeds people. Literally feeds people. It makes careers. It gets people tenure. It does all of this stuff. And so this is just a way of dealing with something that's going to get in the way of business.
Of course.
Just like Happy Meat is a way of dealing with something that's going to get in the way of business. I think as long as the industry can commodify animals, as long as that essential relationship of commodification is in place, that animal is property, as long as that relationship is in place, they will do anything to preserve that relationship, because as long as that relationship is in place, they can make money.
Exactly.
You take away that relationship of animals being property and commodities, there's no way to make money off of them. Nope.
Exactly right.
So, I thought that was a very interesting article, insofar as it was very telling. I mean, it came kind of from the perspective of a scientist, as looking at this as an issue that needed to be dealt with. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's extremely deceptive. It's a problem that the people who are involved in this thing create themselves.
It is. It's like, yeah, you decided to do this, and then, you realize that, oh, by the way, I actually have to kill this animal.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
But you don't have to do that.
No. Yeah, exactly. Make the choice not to do it in the first place. Hey, there's a brilliant idea.
How smart.
Yeah.
God. Could we try that?
I think so. I think rather than putting all this time and energy into killing all these animals for, scientific research that doesn't always work, how about coming up with other models?
Who here can tell Bob what critical thinking means?
That's what I'm wondering. Okay, you want to do voicemails?
Voicemails.
Time once again for some vegan freak voicemail. Maybe we'll hear from a hot chick
or a choice male.
Callers make us happy and help us keep our sanity, even if all they wanna do is fucking complain about the shitload of profanity.
Oh, whoops. I'm sorry. I pressed the wrong button. That's the old time thing. Things aren't as they used to be. We'll have one of those segments soon. I actually just pressed the wrong button. Sorry.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. I'm just having a very frustrating day, and I thought I would call in with some of my observations. So I live in New York City, and as I was doing my errands today, I couldn't help but notice how... Well, first off, this comment really doesn't have to do that much with veganism. My apologies. But nonetheless, I couldn't help but notice today as I'm running around doing my errands, like, America capitalizes on everything. Everything. And, first I'm walking around, and when I go to get my groceries, I walk past St. Patrick Cathedral, and they're selling Pope memorabilia because the Pope's coming. And I understand he's a really big deal and everything, but Pope and capitalism, that doesn't really seem to go together. Like, why?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Oh, since the beginning of Catholicism.
Absolutely.
The church is all about making money.
Plus, look, everybody knows that the Pope is just an agent of Satan, okay?
Tampering and dioxide stuff!
Why do you need a T-shirt to signify that the Pope's coming, just so somebody can make profit off the Pope? That's just disgusting. And then one of my friends who unfortunately...
What do you think the collection baskets are for in church? Oh, I know what they're for. They're for the legal defense fund for the pedophiles.
He does shop at the vicious Whole Foods. Tells me that they're getting rid of plastic bags, and that's terrific. Go them.
It is good.
But at the same time, they're also selling, fancy, decorated designer grocery bags. I'm sure that everybody in their house has a box or a basket or a paper bag or 2 arms, for Christ's sake, to carry groceries. You don't need a designer bag. Yeah, you're getting rid of plastic, but you don't need to capitalize and make profit off this green movement. I mean, I don't know. My apologies that this is really a terribly unorganized voicemail, but I'm just so frustrated that we can't even leave things alone. We have to capitalize on everything. We can't even leave the Pope alone, and we can't even leave people's right to have a non-polluted world alone. So I'm just very angry. Thought I'd leave you a voicemail. All right. Keep the kick-ass podcast, and I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. That was pretty good.
No, I completely understand. I mean, well, the green movement's all about making money, really.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you still got to make that profit.
Step forward.
Profit. But
yeah, it is. I don't know. I mean, maybe if people feel like they can carry their groceries in a nice bag, they'll be more likely to use the bag again.
Yeah,
says hippie Bob.
Okay, hippie Bob.
I have these moments. Okay, I have to tell you, I had these moments where I have I'm like bipolar. Not really bipolar.
Right.
Not in the way that
you have like one bob on your shoulder and another bob on your other shoulder.
I have little homunculi. Is that the right word? Little homunculi.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have these little things on my things on my shoulder. Mm-hmm. One bob tends to be very like, ooh, yeah, like, come on, man, like, let's like align our chakras and like go hug crystals and do Reiki. You know, like there's like this part of me that this is the bob that volunteers for the board of the co-op. This is the bob that does dumb shit like that, right? That thinks, yeah, you can like change the world, man. And then there's the bob which is like, so where are the camps at for re-education? Like, I've got these two spheres. It's like, I'm either completely like, woo, yeah, you know, or I'm like, Joseph Stalin. Like, I'm one or the other. I can't. Not really, but kind of. Anyway,
the designer grocery bags.
Oh, right.
You do not need. It's all about the image, though, man. When you're driving your Prius and you got your designer grocery bags and you're going into
Whole Foods. A lot of our listeners drive Priuses.
You show you care.
That's true.
But yeah, no, there are people who drive Priuses for good reasons.
No, I agree. Well, no, you want to be in a very attractive ecosexual. You see,
of course,
you have to have all the accoutrements of your ecosexuality. So,
but a cardboard box just doesn't cut it.
No, it doesn't. And those nasty ass old bags from the grocery store, all the ones that are all wrinkly up and smell weird and have little onion skins in the bottom from where you put the onions in. No, that ain't gonna cut it for your fucking free range grass fed lamb, man. No, you want to have a canvas bag made out of like, I don't know, some kind of organic canvas and the hair of some third world child. I don't know. I mean, shit.
Well, there were these designer bags that were coming that somebody made. It says "I'm not a plastic bag" on it.
Yeah.
And people were collecting them. This is like designer items. They were selling them for like a ridiculous amount of money. And then people would go around town and go to the grocery store and like get things in a plastic bag and put it inside their bag that says "I'm not a plastic bag."
Awesome.
But like, yeah, the whole green thing. It just reminded me of I was reading this Time magazine lately. It was like the Time top 100 most influential people. Boy. Blah 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 blah. And
I forgot those articles from Newsweek. Go ahead.
Oh well, next time.
Yeah.
One of them was about the CEO of Pepsi. Right, and how like influential she is, and it was all lauding Pepsi for being sustainable and healthy.
Healthy,
because they took trans fats out of their products.
When did what about all the high fructose corn syrup?
I was going to say, yeah, they're selling sugar water.
Yeah. Healthy
and sustainable. Sugar water in plastic bottles.
Right,
that's great.
But you can recycle them.
Oh my god. You can, the whole greenwashing is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and the Pope, right? This is a guy who wears Versace shoes and all that crap. I don't think the Catholic Church and capitalism have ever really gotten along poorly. And I don't know. I mean, they've always been pretty big on money. But
I mean, she was talking about all the other people who are capitalizing off of the fact that he was coming.
I know. Absolutely. Cool, let's move on.
Hi, vegan freaks. My name's Carla. I'm 15 years old, been vegan for about a year, and I am the only vegan in my house currently, but I'm working on it.
Good.
Okay, so I have 2 rants for you guys today. The first one is my parents recently took a trip to Argentina over my spring break, and originally I had assumed that I was going too, but no. My mom
stay home, vegan.
Tells me that I can't go because of my diet. Now, I hate that she sees my vegan diet as some sort of disability. And granted, it would be harder to find vegan food in a place like Argentina, Buenos Aires, but it's doable,
Yeah.
So that just really, really pissed me off. And then the other thing is I'm a high school student, and all of my stupid high school friends have this thing where they like to dangle meat in front of my face.
That's
ha ha ha, do you want to bite? Okay, that just kills me every time. Okay. Well, I love your podcast. I love you too. You guys keeps me going. So, All right, that's it. Bye, guys.
Thanks for that, Carla.
That's awesome. Oh, it's about the disability.
I know.
It's like, you can't go because, basically, it would be too much of a pain in the ass for us to find something for you to eat.
See, they already left, but if you had asked Uncle Bob what to do, Uncle Bob would have said, show your parents, stay home and have a huge party. Trash the house. No. I do not actually recommend such behavior.
But any major city you go to, you're going to be able to find something to eat vegan.
I would think.
Any major city.
I would
you can
think.
find pasta and
It's not that hard in Spanish to describe what you need either. It's not like trying to describe it in, I don't know, Chinese or something.
No.
You know? I would think it wouldn't be. Don't we have listeners?
Yes, from Argentina, yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, in Buenos Aires, there is a huge Italian population.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I'm sure you can get pasta.
You can always get potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they eat potatoes in South America.
Lots of them.
Yeah, dude. They're from South America. The potato is. What was the second point in that email? I need to take
the
my
meat
omegas.
dangling.
Oh, yes. There's a solution for that, too.
What's that?
A fist in the face.
Yeah. Way to go.
I'm kidding. Aren't there times that you just want to punch people for being so fucking smug?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are, aren't there? Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm not. I'm only kidding. You shouldn't punch anyone. I don't know. Usually if that kind of stuff doesn't happen to me too often, because I think people don't tend to mess with me. I don't know, around here like that.
No, people aren't like that around where we live.
No.
They're not in the get in your face type. They're more they talk about you behind your back type.
That's true. But no, I think the best thing to do is just to try to ignore it. I mean, because really the power in that comes from you reacting to it. So the more you react to it, the more you give them power. The less you react to it, the less entertaining it becomes. And eventually, even the biggest asshole will get tired of doing that, I think. Okay, and now we have another excellent voicemail from Frippy. I haven't listened to it. I assume it's excellent. Frippy's voicemails usually are
That's a good question.
top notch. Yeah.
Hey, this is Frippy, and for once I want your opinion rather than just to spew mine. I'm on some communities where people who are saying they're vegan and they're buying secondhand leather and wool, and they're saying it's greener to do that than to buy new synthetics because you're not wasting it. I see it the same way, you might see the veganism argument, like leather is not something you wear if you're vegan, just like cheese is not something you eat, regardless of where you find it or whether or not you plunk down any or as much money for it. So I wanted to know what I could say. What would you say to someone saying that? When I say it's still not vegan, I'm accused of not being green, and I'm accused of being an extremist, which I guess I am, and I'm groovy with that. But anyhow, I just wanted to know, what do you think about it? Can you be vegan and wear secondhand leather, and is it that much better than buying a new synthetic item? And what other options could you do instead? All right, thanks.
Well,
I don't think
it's vegan at all.
I don't think so either.
Not vegan.
Because, go ahead.
No, I'm waiting for you.
Oh, I'm just going to say, it's all about, we're always saying, it's all about the protest. It's the showing that, we don't eat or use leather or wool or any of the animal products that, we don't need them to live, and we're showing that it's possible to live without them. And so if you're buying secondhand leather, you're still buying leather.
I agree.
It doesn't, like you said, I agree with your explanation is, completely. It's just like, it doesn't matter if it's free or if you paid $2 for it. If you paid $500 for it, it still comes from an animal. It shows that the animal is ours to, rip apart and make stuff out of.
I think so too.
Which is not cool. I mean, it's one thing if you have leftover leather from your pre-vegan days and you're wearing it out and then you're going to, get rid of it.
Yeah.
That's different.
I think so too.
But if you're actually saying, okay, I'm a vegan now today and I'm going to go out and buy used leather,
it
doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me either. It sends a very conflicting message. Just if someone is a vegan for ethical reasons and they're wearing leather, it's one of the first things that people do is they go, "Oh, are your shoes leather?" And I love being able to pick up my boot and put it in someone's face, literally, like to show somebody, lift up the bottom of my foot and go, "Read the bottom of my shoe." And I've done this in class. I have.
Yeah.
I've gotten up, I put my foot on the desk. I said, "Read the bottom of my shoe." What does it say? They said, "Vegetarian shoes." I said, "Yes, exactly. Vegetarian shoes." Okay. So, I like being able to do that because it just shows, okay, I wear these huge boots with 14 holes in them and steel toe, and they look like leather, but they're not, right? So I think that's really important to do that. And look, buying secondhand leather, the production of leather is quite bad environmentally. If you think all the chemicals and things that are in it. And even, secondhand is better than the first, but I still think it creates a general demand for it. And I think in the long run, look, the earth is fucked anyway. I'm kidding.
No, but
I do think it is. But,
but just like, welfarism undermines the vegan message, this also undermines the vegan message. If you're still wearing an animal product that you don't have to be, it's like... Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And in terms of alternatives, okay, synthetics might not be great, but there are plenty of recycled materials out there, like recycled rubber, blah, blah, blah. There's hemp and cotton and all these kinds of things. If you're really eco and you really want to be green, go use one of those.
I completely agree. You can get shoes that are made out of hemp and recycled tires. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's so not green about that.
Yeah, really.
That's totally... I have a pair of shoes that are made out of... the bottom of them is a tire and the top is hemp.
Yeah.
And...
You hippie.
I know. I try to smoke them. No, anyway, no, I do have shoes like that, and I don't wear them all that often because in the rain they get really, 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 really wet. But they're out. Those kinds of alternatives are out there if someone feels uncomfortable about the notion of putting into circulation, potentially harmful plastics or things like that are in PVC or whatever. No, PVC. Mm-hmm. That are in PVC and other kinds of vegan alternatives. And, I really think it's important that we're consistent as vegans. So, any kind of ethical inconsistency is troubling in that way, I think, and needs to really be something that is thought out. Mm-hmm. So, to me, the whole, it's less green, I don't know. You can get plenty of vegan alternatives that are quite green if you look for them.
Mm-hmm. Plus, like we said, like not just in terms of the leather being bad for the environment because it uses all kinds of nasty chemicals, but it's also, the cow that had to be killed for that leather is not environmentally sustainable either.
True.
So
that's true.
There you go.
All right, moving on.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is Megan from Oregon, a.k.a. Herbstsona from the forum. I just had kind of a bizarre experience in which my student animal rights group on campus is tabling this week because it's Earth Week, and we're suggesting people that to, make the world a better place and to reduce your carbon footprint, think about going vegan. And I was tabling with a guy who says he's vegan, and we were talking about stuff, and he asks me if I'm a consumption vegan or a vegan. And alarm bells kind of went off there, as you might guess.
Yeah.
And I asked him what a consumption vegan was, and he was like, well, I don't eat factory farmed products. And I was like, okay, so that's not really vegan. And he said, well, if you shot a deer in the woods, would you eat it? And I was like, no, first of all, no shooting. Second of all, no eating. And he seemed to imply that there's a subset of vegans in which, if the world were a magical place where everything was back to nature, as if that means anything, we'd run around keeping the animals in balance, and the animals would keep us in balance. And I really wanted to point out to him that I really don't think at any point are the animals going to be, overrunning us. Because even with, sticks and arrowheads, we managed to wipe out woolly mammoths. So, God, I was pissed. Anyway, just needed someone to rant to who would understand. On the upside, we got a bunch of people to sign up to go vegan, so that's good. But anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Talk to you later.
I don't know what. Where do people get this shit?
I don't know.
All right, listen. This is for your friend. Put the bong down. Put the bong down. You're smoking too much weed. I mean, what the fuck?
I don't know. What? How do these people think this back to nature thing's going to happen? I mean, how are we supposed to support 6 point whatever billion people?
We're going to have a collapse of the ecological system brought down by any means necessary.
Right. So which means the death of billions of people, essentially.
Yeah.
Right. And so then if we're all out hunting animals, then that's going to keep us in check, which means people have to die of starvation when we overhunt. And then we're also killing all the animals.
I have no...
That makes sense, yeah.
But the idea... Okay, this is, again, why veganism is so confused. Why are we so confused?
I don't know.
Why are people so confused?
Why do people want to put things in the vegan category that don't belong?
Because they think it's cool to be something else besides what they are. I mean, there are people who are who like say they're vegan and they're not. A student interviewed me a couple weeks ago and he said to me, so are you a vegan? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he said, well, I know vegans who eat like cheese. And I said, you do? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, guess what? They're not vegan. So I am a vegan. Your friends are not. Because vegans don't eat cheese.
Right. And it's not like we're trying to be some exclusive elitist club. Well, actually, we are, you know. That's our secret plan.
Don't eat eggs. What if a monkey made you a thing? Would you eat it then?
Anyway.
You know, it's trying to be consistent.
Yes.
Morally, ethically consistent.
It's very easy. Now,
yes.
There are situations... I mean, look.
There are gray areas.
There are gray areas, and there are situations in which Listen, I'm going to tell you, there are situations in which I would eat animal products.
Such as?
Okay. I have crashed on a desert island somewhere, and there is nothing for me to eat except an animal that I would have to kill. Mm-hmm. If it were that animal or me, I would probably kill that animal and eat it. Yes, vegans. There you go. Everybody can have a fucking... Oh, my God. Warwack is going to be, like, on some blog somewhere. Bob said to eat animals. And he's going to, like... I'm sure there'll be 100 emails. But this is a condition of necessity. Yeah. Do you understand the difference?
Yes, of course.
If I crashed on a desert island with Warwack...
You would eat him?
I would eat him. I would eat him. Have you ever seen the movie Alive?
Yes.
Yeah, you know? So, I was talking about that in class, and I go, yeah, some guy got his ass eaten. And I said, not in the good way. All the students were shocked. They were so shocked. So, and then I was like, oh, come on, you aren't into tossing salads? So they were just like, what? Yeah, what did you say? They laughed, though. Yeah. It was funny. No, there are conditions of necessity in times during which, if it's a you or us or them scenario, right? And I don't even think if I were crashed on a desert island that it would be impossible for me to find vegetable products to eat, to be honest with you. Right. I don't think I'd actually have to be in a situation like that ever, where I would have to kill an animal.
Exactly. These are like extreme what ifs.
Yeah, that's the point. I don't ever think I would have to be in a situation like that ever. Ever. And, you know, the people who are in those situations, they're extremely rare. And there are some like examples in history where people have eaten other people and not gotten in trouble for that. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of things that, you know, like, for example, in Gary Francione's Introduction to Animal Rights, there's a footnote in one of the chapters that you know, I'm an academic. I go and read footnotes. This is like my Friday nights going and reading footnotes. So I was reading a footnote, and one of the footnotes talks about this legal case where there were 3 guys on a boat out in the middle of the ocean, and they hadn't had food or water for weeks. Mm-hmm. And the 2 of them decided they were going to gang up on the 3rd guy, kill him, drink his blood, and eat him.
Oh my God.
They did. They were rescued. They went back to the mainland. They were prosecuted. Both of them were prosecuted for murder. Right? They were accused of murder. The Queen pardoned them.
Wow.
I think this was the Queen pardoned them because of the conditions of exigency. So in other words, there are times during which we will say it is okay to eat another human. Those are the kinds of times where I would say it's okay to eat an animal. Right? When you're in a situation where you would also contemplate eating another human. And I don't mean eating in the pleasant way. I mean eating like consuming a human, right? Those times are very rare.
Yeah.
Extremely rare.
Yeah.
Being a vegan is about recognizing that the humans don't need to eat animals to live. Period. So, unless there is this very rare, you know, oh my God, situation, whatever.
What if you were like on an island and like fried chicken started falling from the sky?
I've heard that. I know. So what if you were like on an island and like you found lunch meat? First off, would you eat lunch meat on a hot desert island that you found? It's like,
hello, salmonella. Yeah.
Yeah. So, look, if you want to send me nasty email about what I just said, please don't. Because I'm not going to read it anyway. So, I don't know what's up with this consumption vegan, whatever. If you're a vegan, you're an ethical vegan.
You're a vegan, you're a vegetarian, or you're an omnivore.
vegetarianism, I mean, I don't want to offend anybody, but vegetarianism, you're still consuming animal products. If you're a vegetarian, why aren't you vegan? You should be vegan. I mean, if you're a vegetarian for animal rights reasons, you should be a vegan. Because being a vegetarian for animal rights reasons is pointless. No offense to any vegetarians out there. I know you're probably mad at me, but, you know, hey, I'm an animal rights whack job, so get used to it.
Hey, Bob. Hey, Jenna. This is Leanne, our Hebe Phoebes on your forum. I just wanted to share with you that being vegan changed my life. Also, I mean, the hardest thing for me, I think, was giving up cheese. And I got to tell you, dude, I came into work today. I'm sitting in the break room right now, and there's enough cheese pizza sitting around here to feed the entire staff. And I have no desire to eat it all. It took 2 months, but I finally, you know, it's not hard anymore, and that's what makes it so worth it that I can give something up like that. But I just wanted to share that with you, and I think you guys are amazing. I love you. Bye.
Thank you. And I'm glad, because cheese is the thing that always comes up. My students are like, I could go vegan, but cheese. What am I going to do about cheese?
Don't eat it.
I know, but people really love cheese.
They do.
But the thing about cheese is like, it's horrendous for you. It is really not good for you. Not in any way, shape, or form. So that's one thing you can usually use on the health people.
That's true.
But that's rare.
That is rare, because
a lot of
people don't care.
Yeah, a lot of people who I've gotten to go vegan don't give a shit about that at all. They don't really care about the health issue at all. For them, it's always an ethical one. So,
and well, it's bad for the cows.
That's it too. It's very bad for the cows, but it's tough to give up. I know that, and I know a lot of people that have struggled with it. And I really do think if you're trying to give up cheese, you just got to walk away from it and give it up.
Like we have it on one of our very early shows, it is addictive. It has casomorphines in it that make you want to go back to it.
They're mildly addictive.
But they're addictive.
Right.
And so the only way I think that you're going to be able to give it up is just give it up and not eat less and less and less. It's just give it up.
I agree.
Hey guys, this is Megan from Arizona.
Faint.
And I want to say that I absolutely love your podcast, and I listen to it whenever I can. And I bought your book a while ago and read the whole thing in one day, and I loved it. I just have a thing about doctors to share with you. I don't understand why doctors think that you cannot be vegetarian or vegan, and I don't get why they think that there is no way for you to get protein. My sister recently got pregnant, and she told her doctor that she wanted to be vegetarian while she was pregnant, and the doctor said absolutely not. That veggie burgers were nothing but vegetables combined together, and that there was absolutely no protein in a veggie burger. And she was like, well, what about like quinoa or like anything like that? And he was like, well, those are just carbs and those don't give you protein. And so she was like, okay. And then he was like, I don't get why people are vegetarian or vegan anyway. They don't lose any weight. They just get sick and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why are you telling people this? I just don't understand why doctors don't think that you can be vegetarian or vegan. I don't get it. And that brings me to my next point, is when I went to the doctor for some liver problem or something that they told me I had. And I told them I was vegan, and the doctor's like, well, you're going to be eating a lot of peanut butter, I guess, because she said that the only source of peanut butter that she knew of, or any source of any source of protein that she knew of was peanut butter. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me right now? Oh, it just pisses me off to no end about the fucking doctors. Okay, well, anyways, that's all I wanted to share, and I love you guys, and keep on doing what you're doing. Okay, bye.
Are your doctors where you live on some kind of special program for doctors who didn't do well in medical school? Like, oh, we're going to send them to wherever Megan lives. Even around, this is the thing, even around here where we live, we live in a whirling, sucking eddy of rural shititude in northern New York. It's like, it is too, isn't it? We live in the middle of nowhere. Even my doctor here is like, vegan's a good thing. She knows.
Our dentist is vegetarian.
Our dentist is a vegetarian. My doctor's completely cool with it. Yeah. It's been the position of the American Dietetic Association and Dietitians of Canada for a very long time that vegan and vegetarian diets, well-planned vegan and vegetarian diets, are appropriate for every part of your life course, including pregnancy. And I don't know what your doctors are thinking. Peanut butter is not the only protein.
Where did they come up with peanut butter?
I haven't eaten peanut butter in like months.
I know.
If peanut butter were the only place to get protein, I would be dead by now because I haven't eaten it in forever.
Yeah. And veggie burgers. Oh yeah, that's all we eat is veggie burgers.
But here's the other thing though, is that there are certain products that pregnant women should not be, animal products that pregnant women should not be eating because they are dangerous to consume.
Exactly.
Because of salmonella or other kinds of foodborne illnesses that
and
can
the
kill.
fish that have all the toxins.
That's right.
And everything.
Yeah.
I would think it'd be much healthier to be a vegan.
I would think though that, it would require some planning. You're eating for two, but look, I mean, there are plenty of books out there on it, and I would, if I were you and your sister, I would talk to a nutritionist.
Definitely. This is our, usual plug for Becoming Vegan by Vicento Molina and Brenda Davis.
Yeah, and Vicento Molina does these consultancies they're like $200 or so. I don't remember how much mine was, but it was totally worth it. Completely worth it. She spent so much time with me. She helped me change my diet, change the way I consume, the way I ate as a vegan, and it really made a huge difference for me in terms of health. So, it's quite possible. We do it. Hey, Emmy. Good. She's going to flip out. She's on the verge of flipping out at something. So anyway, I don't know where people get this shit.
Well, part of the problem is, of course, that in the United States, doctors need extremely little nutritional training.
That's true. That's actually true.
So.
Well, good luck, everybody. And our number, 267-295-1944.
267-295-1944. Write the number down on your refrigerator door. Add the 001 country code if you call us from Vienna. That's how you leave a voicemail for good old Bob and Jenna.
Remember the time we actually got a voicemail from Vienna?
Yeah. That was awesome.
That's cool. It's back in the archives somewhere. So, that is show number 90.
Yay!
We really need to do these more often.
I know.
The more we do them, the sharper we are.
I know.
It was hard. It was like getting going. It was like trying to get the car moving when it's cold outside. It's like, it wasn't going. And now we're kind of swinging into it.
Yeah, we're in an emotionally better place right now, and
we are.
Less work to do, and so we're good.
We thank you for your patience. Subscribers, stay tuned. After the Vegan Freak theme, we shall be back. Non-subscribers, you're going to be done when this song's over.
We'll see you next week then.
And we'll see you next week. Don't forget, you can get in touch with us at show@veganfreakradio.com. Is that our email? 267-295-1944. You can leave us voicemail on our website. There are all kinds of stuff you can do. You know how to get in touch with us if you want to.
Yep. veganfreakradio.com.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.